Going live.
All right.
Da,
Are we
da,
live?
da,
Are we live?
3, 2,
food in my
1.
mouth.
We are live and direct, coming from
On the internet.
the mecca of
All things bicycle related.
and
Cycles.
whiskey. Da, 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 da. With a massive subscriber count of 22 million.
Are we up to 22?
22.
22 mil.
That's right.
22 mil. If I was good at making songs, I'd make a whole song about it. But I'm not good at that. If I was good at a lot of things, I'd probably do a lot of other things, but I don't.
Today, we are going to be talking about what bike shops charge
Getting all that money from you.
labor dollar wise.
Yes.
So, how do they charge? What do they charge? When should they charge? How much should they charge?
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to jump right in with, and all bike shops are different, especially, we're seeing more and more chain bicycle shops, so that is gonna change the market. And then you see mom and pop shops, high-end shops,
Yeah.
neighborhood bike shops that kind of cater to everything and everyone.
Absolutely.
So let's jump in. And the first thing I want to talk about tonight is, what is a tune-up?
What is a tune-up?
What is a tune-up? When you take your bike to the bike shop and you're like,
Right?
give me a tune-up.
Which is the question that it is asked 90+% of the time when people bring their bike in. I have several that were brought today. Yeah, just here it is. I need to get it tuned up. What does that even mean? Now, I have an idea, but I'd love to know what you think, and I'd love to know what they think. If they are there people willing to share?
What do you think a tune-up is? What is a bicycle tune-up? So essentially, it's when a bike shop bundles a package deal of services.
Right.
So generally, basic tune-up is going to cover just adjustments of the brakes, derailleurs, maybe a light wipe down, oil the chain, and kind of look over the bike and make sure everything's functioning. Like basic tune-up, maybe cost you like $60.
$60, you think?
Yeah, for like your
For
basic
a basic tune-up.
basic tune-up.
What do you think? Shall we do some
I
investigative
think we should.
investigative reporting live on the air here and find out what a basic
tune-up.
what
Now this isn't
what basic Jack needs over here?
some shops, like the next level up, you would get into maybe replacing some cables, tuning wheels, truing the wheels, and doing a little more in depth, especially on the mountain bike side of things. And then you're going to get into your overhauls. An overhaul is taking stuff apart, taking the hubs apart, taking the bottom bracket out, servicing like a suspension fork. That's what I consider an overhaul. And so there...
I'm trying to. I was supposed to be doing this earlier. I'm trying
Yeah.
to pull, but I had to go to a high school concert. These guys don't even. Oh wait, service. There we go.
Service. What do we got?
Well, it looks like
Ooh.
the most basics. Well, here let's go through some local options.
Here.
Do we want to rat out who we're talking about here? No, nobody's gonna. Feels like they need to know who's who here. But let's go. So
Yeah.
local shop near me. Like if I were in my neighborhood here and I went on the internet, which is in there, I went bum, 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 and it's like, hey, I need get a tune-up. I would probably go call this shop right here. Okay, they're nearby. I think you.
I broke it.
Oh, it's gonna show who they are.
Yeah.
We're gonna let everybody see who they are.
Who is it?
Well, this is
Let me see.
Mojo. This is Mojo Wheels.
Let me see if this comes up. Yep, there it is. So this is a tune-up package from a local bike shop.
Yep.
Here we are.
Oh, hold on. My computer's doing this. We're showing it. All right. But they're cheapest tune-up. There's nothing below bronze, right? Bronze is the base. What in your words, basic, right here is $120. You said you were hoping for 60.
I know. I'm below market.
You're not doing it. So we got $120, which gets you frame wipe down, drivetrain adjustments with a hanger alignment. Very important addition. Brake adjustments, lateral wheel trues. Now they don't specify whether that is on the bike or off the bike, which other bike shops might actually make a differentiation between. Inspect and adjust hubs, bottom bracket, headset, dropper post, lubricate chain, cable and housing, safety check. And safety check is going to show up on a lot of these because safety check is going to be a catch-all for basically going through all the nuts and bolts, ideally, and just making sure that like the bike is going to function when you ride it. Nothing's loose.
Yeah.
That's what's going to fall under safety check, but it shows up in a lot of these things just kind of as a throw in for whatever else you need. So that's your bit.
They start
that
out.
description is what I would you call that basic? Your basic tune-up? Like that's the bottom of the line tune-up?
Yeah. And then.
All right. Well, I mean, who else we got? We got another.
That's your.
Oh boy, I gotta learn how to use websites here. We're not up there.
No.
All right. We're gonna go to service, repairs and services. Let's see if their website. Book a service, 5-year maintenance plan.
Ooh,
See,
5-year.
This is not. All right. Book a service.
Let's book a service right
Well,
now.
it's not-
15% off.
It's not. This is not particularly intuitive. It's gonna take me to, I believe.
There's the package. Oh, you gotta pick a
I have
store.
to pick the store.
Yeah.
So let's just go East Denver here. I know where that location is, even though it's far from me. They're using this Hub Tiger service, which I've thought about using, which is something else we could talk about on another show. Is internet services that are software, technology services that are helpful. Anyway, what would you like to book? General services, tune-ups. There we go. Boom. Baseline tune-up called the Comp Tune is $125.
$125 in the door.
Inspect, adjust, and clean all key parts of your bike to get you ready.
Ooh, sounds intimate.
It's a lot of it's generally unclear. How clean is always a good question because they're saying, oh, we're going to clean all the key parts. What is a key part? Because in my opinion, all the parts that are on the bike are fairly. They kind of need to be there. I mean, bells, they're not going to. Yeah.
Dude, grips. You don't need grips.
It's a key part. I'm going to say
it's not a key part.
Need is a different word than key. Key is highly important, but not necessarily the same as need.
If you have a single speed, you don't need derailleur adjustments.
I'm just saying, like need and key are different. So this does key parts.
And that's another thing is there a single speed? Like what if I need my fixed gear?
No, obviously there's a service inquiry thing down here that you can click. Some general services that you pop up here. But again, baseline tune-up, which is just adjusting the gears and brakes and what? Cleaning stuff.
Cleaning.
Whatever
down.
Whatever that means. $120. All right. Let's do another one. Let's go to one of the other big fellas around. So we had local, hyper local shop, chain kind of situation, and then like not a chain, but like well-known store in the area. So those are 3 kinds of stores that we've hit right now. Bicycle service packages. I don't know if there's more than this, but bottom line here, we have $125, the same price point, is what they call Clean It, which is complete and thorough washing of bicycle, degreasing of the drivetrain, lubrication of gears and brakes, and a safety examination. So from what I can tell, this does not include the adjustment of anything on your gears and your brakes. It's safety and cleanliness and lubrication. $125.
$125 in the door.
To wash your bike and
your
lube
basics.
your chain.
Huh.
I'm trying, because I'm speaking directly about who these shops are, I'm trying not to throw shade.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be respectful as I can. But this has been my existence for going on 15 years, is trying to evaluate what other bike shops are doing, how they're describing what they're doing, what they're actually producing as a product, and then how that's being received by the customer. And these are some of the frustrations I have. Is like a safety examination, wash your bike. That's $125. That's a lot.
It's by
and
experts.
And then their classic tune it, which includes
That's $250. The classic
it's $250.
tune.
So we're making a jump. We go from $125 to $250. That's your price jump from them. It includes adjustments. They throw in things like brake pad resurfacing, cleaning your braking surface, truing and tensioning your wheels off the bike. So they made the distinction between being on and off the bike, front and rear, unless it's a unicycle.
We don't tune unicycles here, sir.
No, sir. Safety, inspect and adjust the bottom bracket, headset, derailleur pivots. And this is where when we get into the game of what is a tune-up, starts to become very interesting to me, because there are things like this: inspect and adjust bottom bracket. Most modern bottom brackets don't require adjustment.
Yeah, everything's
If
sealed.
it's tight, if it's installed,
Yeah.
or pressed in, installed. I mean, you can check that if there's any bearing wear or drag, and that could be included in that. But there's very little bearing adjustment. You adjust preload on a few styles,
Yeah.
Shimano, some of the dub stuff, Shimano. But it's not an bottom bracket adjustment in necessity in the same way it used to be when we had the loose ball cup and cone style stuff on bottom brackets, which is just pretty much gone away, other than on pretty low end stuff.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
would say
an interesting way to go about it. I feel like they're throwing in an activity that kind of sounds familiar to people. Like, oh, we adjust the bottom bracket. And people are like, oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. When there's not, in most cases, something to adjust.
Well, and in most modern bikes are sealed bearing through.
Right.
So like a tune-up 15, 20 years ago were hubs. I mean, the bearings in the headset, the hubs, the bottom bracket, all that needed to be adjusted.
Right.
Now, what are you tuning?
Right. What do you think?
Like,
Well, and bikes are so wildly different now than they were 10 plus years ago across the spectrum.
yeah.
Like a road bike now is in many ways a high-end road bike now is in many ways going to be more complicated than almost everything else. When more than 10 years ago, it was the easiest bike to work on. I mean, road bike tune-ups were super easy once upon a time. Everything was on the outside. Everything was adjustable with pretty much the same the tools from bike to bike. And now we have a totally different story. I mean, if we look at each road bike in here that I have, they all have like totally different stuff.
And then, like, other than derailleurs, if it's got hydraulic brakes, like, what is there to tune?
Right. I mean, you can make a brake adjustment if it's dragging. If it's not,
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
True the wheels, adjust the value is,
Yeah.
is what are you giving
Right.
for, what are you getting for that money?
Right. So we need to go to this other bike shop who looks like they are priced pretty low.
Oh.
Their basic tune-up, which they call their simple service, is $75. Then their next one is $125, called their complete service. Their simple service, here's what's cool about these guys. If you click on their thing, it actually brings up
Oh, should I show this to the
a
people?
PDF of the checklist of the services that are performed on that particular bicycle.
Oh.
So this is what is performed
And the
at
people have
this
seen.
bike shop under their $75 simple service, but that price needs to go up based on what we're comparing.
The
Partially
market.
because it needs to match the market, but also because more specified work is being done here than some of these other places.
Now that's interesting. Let's let's
Actually,
take another peek
also
at
if
that.
you
Let's show the people the
put it on-
checklist.
Yeah. So here's the complete service for a disc brake model, which is going to be different than a rim brake model. So your tune-up activities are going to be a little bit different. So that's so it's going to have a full list of everything that should be done And if it's not done, there's going to be some sort of notation that it isn't done. For instance, this is a very good example. Some rear hubs, this will say, oh, secure the hub lock nuts. Good activity, you know, something you should do.
Great activity.
If the hub has them.
Okay.
Because many cartridge bearing hubs don't have lock nuts anymore. They're just preloaded by the quick release or the through axle.
Yeah, you don't lock anything down.
There's nothing to be locked down.
It's just, and some are easy serviceable, and they just have little rubber brushings.
Right. So, if you've
This seems like an ad. That's what Cody said. Yeah. It seems like
this isn't an ad. I mean, it's a kind of an ad.
only
Partially.
It just turned into an ad.
The point is this.
Looks like
the point is, apart from some things that we talk shit about, I've actually thought through this exact question. What is a tune-up? Kind of what should stuff cost? What is provided? At what level? I've thought about this for years in very, very specific ways. So, like, this is a...
Yeah. And it's when a customer goes to a shop and...
I know what I'm talking about is all. Yeah.
And walks in the door, they just ask for a tune-up. And that's kind of my point, because that's setting the expectation of what you're going to spend out of the gate. What is that? And that's a lot of how bike shops set their labor prices.
Right.
Is you have your a la carte, you know, you come in for a tube change, or you're going to come in for the tune-up. And a lot of people are just going to come in and say, I need the basic tune-up. And it looks like you're a little low for the market.
A little low. I need to update my prices for the market here. I kind of knew that. I just haven't. I have not done any work on my website for a while, and that's why. But
well, I think that's a great thing to talk about is some of the when to adjust. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But let me go to my notes here.
Get your notes. We were still on the question of what is a tune-up, and the answer to the question, what is a tune-up, is, well, it just depends on what shop you're at. And this is why it's kind of hard for people to compare prices on this stuff. You've been there. People will call up and say, how much is your tune-up?
Yes.
And you'll be like, well, we have these ones, this, and this. And then it's like, okay, is that the end of the conversation? Or do you have, hopefully not, because if there's more to that conversation, say, well, our first tune-up is this much, here's what we do. And it's just not going to be the same. We already saw, just based on these ones, there's going to be some similarities, but they're not the same from one to the other, even though across the board we were in that $120 price range for the basic.
Yeah, and they're kind of all pricing in the same market-ish, but they're giving different things. And every bike, there's no standard tune-up amongst bike shops.
No.
No matter what level,
Yeah.
they're offering different things, and they keep it kind of vague because, you know, on one thing you don't want to information overload. You just want to say, hey, we're going to do some stuff to your bike. And then you follow up.
Because what are they actually trying to do?
Get you in and out at an affordable price.
No, they're trying to make as much money as they possibly can because they're surviving on as little money as they have.
Yeah.
Piece that together. So, like, any extra time spent explaining things to customers is time you're paying an employee.
Yeah.
Keep that diluted. Keep things dumb, right? Don't let them know too much. Don't have to explain too much. But yeah, we do some basic stuff. We tighten some things and we twist some things, and then boom, bada bing, bada boom. You know, keep it vague so that because it's just easier that way. And then
you get it up in this.
And then when it comes to the actual performance of the tune-up, it's do as little as you can, as quickly as you can. That's the rule. Do I sound jaded in that? But that's got to be the rule, right? That's how they're going to make money, because they're going to get $125 for this. How long should this take someone to do?
Oh, that's got to be in and out of the stand in 30 minutes.
30 minutes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get that done.
And what are you paying an employee?
Oh.
$15, right? Maybe 20.
Now it's 18.
Oh yeah, I guess we up to the min.
We upped.
We upped to the min.
Even though you can't find a place like a 2-bedroom apartment for less than like $1,500-$1,600 in Denver, like that's a crappy place.
Right.
It's like $1,500-$1,600 for like
correct
2-bedroom if you're lucky.
So
apartment.
yeah, you've got to be making more money.
House is going to be $25,000 to $3,000 a month.
So let's say they give a mechanic $20, $25. They're walking away. You know, another $100 goes to the. They're not even giving him. If it takes a half hour, they're not even giving him 20. They're giving him 10.
$10. Done.
You know, for this, and then $110 goes back to the shop.
Huh.
Interesting. Almost like that money is being used to subsidize an unprofitable retail front, but I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't know. So, but that's my point. Like they're trying and that there's. I'm not saying that the goal to make money shouldn't be there. Like obviously it should, but there's, in my opinion, has to be some marriage of just honesty and openness, and fairness, and in the trying to get as much money from people out as you can.
Yeah. Well, you know, an interesting thing, I was having this conversation with a buddy who ran a service department at a shop for auto shop, and the service department at an automotive shop, like if you go to a Volkswagen dealership and you go get your tune-up done there.
Which I don't know what that would even include. They're going to tighten your bolts.
They tighten your bolts.
Yeah.
Usually some filters, some stuff.
Twist some screws.
The service department at a dealership is not there to fix your car. It's there to sell you more cars.
This is probably true, yes.
And so when you get that, it's going to be $3,000. You're like, maybe I should just buy another car.
What's the trade-in on this little fucker?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe I could trade it in, get something new.
Well, tell you what, you know, Chad was just over at his desk doing nothing. Come on over here, Chad. What can we get him into a new one for today?
I think a recurring theme that
I'd be really good in that job if
your name was Chad?
If I played this character every day at work.
So, yeah, if you're the shop at a dealership, like, yeah, they're there to not necessarily be a good repair shop.
Right.
They're there to get people in and out when they have problems, when there's warranties, and to sell cars.
My super cynical side of me says that that's what most fitting departments are for in bike shops.
You are very anti-fitting.
I'm not. It has its place. But to that point, I think it is used a lot of times to get people on new bikes. Like, oh, well, sorry, I just can't get you fit on this bike. And fit, we've told you, fit's the number one most important thing that you have to consider before anything else. And this bike just won't fit you. You're going to need to go talk to Chad on the sales floor.
Chad, go talk to Chad. See if we can just
Chad
ring you
works
up.
at the bike shops on weekends.
Chadwick. And so
The Chadster.
the unmarrying of service departments and bicycle retail is kind of what we've talked about a lot. And to your point with service departments lifting up shops and having to carry shops, especially through the winter when nothing's going on, it's going to be trickling some tune-ups in. And then you're going to be, slinging new bike builds.
Right.
Yeah, that service department has to be profitable and bring money in and keep going. But is it good for the customer? Is this a good price?
Is it a good price?
Are they getting a good deal?
Well, let's. What do you think? Do you think $120 for a basic tune-up in Denver?
It seems high.
Seems high.
And especially for...
But we know that price is related to what you have to pay the people and to keep the lights on for that business.
But
So
the people aren't even getting paid well.
They're not getting paid all that well. They're still getting paid more than they were a few years ago.
Yeah.
Sure. But, so, okay, that's all going up. And this is a question that I continue to have is, okay, then who then suffers in this scenario? The poorer person still keeps suffering because now they can't afford, like if they bought a bike at a yard sale for $20 and it needs a tune-up, you know? It needs the gears and brakes adjusted, the chain lubed, the tires pumped up. It needs that done to it. Is that worth $120 to them?
I think this is...
Where are they going to go if they can't pop into here, there, or anywhere in town?
But those shops are not for that customer.
Where is the shop that's for them then?
That's going to be more of a neighborhood. The neighborhood bike shop.
My neighborhood bike shop is charging $120 for the service that person needs.
But you're your neighborhood bike shop.
Yeah, and I'm charging him $75.
Yeah.
So luckily I'm not on freaking Google Maps because I'd have people just knocking on the doors. Low, gingy prices.
I mean, it's a market, and that's all I gotta say. We're going live.
We're going live.
I was gonna say, who
I
is?
got an emoji react here. Who's what?
Sorry, I just burped. I'm gonna apologize to
I
everyone.
didn't even smell it.
It was bad, but I wish there was a shop that was less of a high-end focused. I feel like every shop that you pulled up was a little bit more of the higher end. They're going for the customer. So there's a chain of shops called Performance Cycles.
Yep.
Huge nationwide shop. They paid their employees terribly. I went to look at working at Performance once.
Yeah.
$9.50 an hour. And
Sounds
this was
sounds
like
money.
8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. I was like, I'll go check it out. Dude, I laughed. I was like, I can't work for that. But Performance, where they put themselves in the market, was they wanted to be just above Walmart. And
How do you know that?
That's their marketing. That was their marketing, their market that they were going after.
Based on what?
Their bikes, their sales. I've talked to their marketing people. I know people.
I talked to them. They said we want to be just a little bit better than Walmart.
No, yeah,
Okay,
essentially,
fair
like
enough.
yeah, like their market
I know
is
from
just
experience
above.
that the models that they built and sold, them in Bicycle Village, were like, well, at one point it was like, because the major brands used to actually have mountain bikes and hybrids down in the like $350 to $400 range.
Yeah.
Those up to like $800 for cheap mountain bikes and cheap hybrids,
Yeah.
city bikes or whatever. They sold tons of them. So yes, that's exactly how we know that that's what they were shooting for the person just above Walmart. Because Walmart shopper is just going in and find a bike, right? To ride around the neighborhood, ride with the kids, maybe ride to work a little bit.
Yeah.
But maybe they need something a little better, or they've gone the Walmart route and realized that the bike is poor
they
for
want just something.
what they're doing, and then they're like, what's the next best step? Performance or Bicycle Village, yeah.
Yep. And so that's where they position themselves in the market. Mass market, a little bit better than Walmart. But the other shops, I feel like those are definitely shifted more towards the high end of stuff.
Right,
And then
are they shifting towards high end, or is...
Oh, they've always been high end. I don't know why I say shifting, but they've always been.
Okay,
like,
sure.
Mojo is selling $10,000,
Yeah.
downhill bikes. We were just selling $10,000 mountain bikes.
But they're also selling cheaper stuff, and they're
Yeah.
working on cheaper
Yeah.
stuff. So...
And Mike's Bikes, I haven't really actually checked them out that much, but I'm pretty sure they're selling
Yeah, they're selling
the higher end stuff.
Well, all of these, so part of this is the problem, I would say problem, where it's not a problem. So like the Denver market has a huge bicycle enthusiast market.
Yeah.
Tons of people ride expensive mountain bikes, expensive road bikes, nice commuter bikes, nice bikes for just for fitness and fun, right? There's a culture here that supports all that.
Yeah.
And then
there's
there's
actual bike culture.
Right. And so like normal bike shops, which I would say a normal bike shop is a bike shop that sells, you know, a $500 hybrid and a $10,000 road bike or mountain bike. That's normal. A lot of bike shops run that range. I mean, Wheat Recycler has the range. Somebody tell me if they don't. So I was looking at bike shops around me. That shop is, all these shops are trying to service the whole spectrum of possible customer, especially when it comes to the service department, because the service department is the one that services the spectrum, because there's no other option for getting your bike worked on.
I think the market is thinned out, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, there's I was gonna say, who else is there
For bike shops?
I think.
Well, I was just looking in my vicinity right here. Obviously, Mojo's down the street. Lucky Bike, the nonprofit for Trips for Kids, is not too far away. That's definitely going to be. I mean, I don't know if they have prices for their services on here or not.
I think the point we were getting at,
$80.
$80 for.
So me and Lucky Bike were in the same category.
Yeah,
price wise.
You're right there. I think the point was getting into this though is what was the point? What was our point?
Well, there wasn't a point. It's
There was a
conversation,
point,
man.
Conversation. Yeah, there was definitely.
Going
there
to
was
our
a
boy
couple-
Velosol over here, and I don't see.
Velo Soul, is he still?
He's still rocking and rolling. Fuck yeah.
Wait a second.
I don't
Is
see
Velo
his...
Soul who I think he is?
Zach?
Is it Zach?
Zach. It's Zach. I know it's Zach.
Well, I can't remember the guy's name. I thought was it the one near the theater on Colfax? Is that Velo Soul?
No.
Okay, never mind.
No, Velosol was by the Whole Foods on Pearl Street.
Okay.
But then they moved a couple years ago to Broadway, south of 285, a short bit.
Gotcha.
Oh, man, told bikes together. Jared, use the
What?
chat.
Use the chat.
People texting me personally. Yeah. It's okay. I think he's another one of those afraid of posting on the internet people.
Yeah.
Bikes together. I don't even know where they are.
Oh, Bikes Together. They're right here downtown. But that's like.
But again,
we are covering though with a shop like Wheat Ridge to getting to the nonprofit bike co-op.
Right.
Those are two ends of the spectrum.
Right. And there's very little that's sort of
in the middle.
Yeah.
Should we dare to check out Ryan, Totem Cyclery?
Oh yeah. Oh, there's One Stop. That guy's great. He's just a mess of bikes. It's so good. Where is? I need to search this area. Sorry, the internet has to catch up with where. Totem Cyclery. Let's check out our boys.
Let's see what we got going on.
What we got? Book an appointment. Booking that, boy. There. Good job hitting us at the book now.
Book now. Which location?
Ooh, good question. Are they services are probably the same at both. Let's go to Second and Bryant.
Let's check it out.
A la carte tune-up packages. Let's go there. Quick tune 45.
Woo!
Check operation, lube change, check tire pressure, safety check. I like that. That seems reasonable. $95 is Quick Tune Plus. I think this Quick Tune Plus falls closer in line with the basic tune-up that some of these other guys were offering. And the credit, and what I love,
Totem Cyclery's coming in with some good prices.
well, not just good prices, more options.
Yeah.
Which is great because, yeah, like I said, not everybody needs that 125. Like, what else could they do? Oh, 45? Okay, things are okay.
And that was my point is if you have a single speed or like a beach cruiser or a basic bike that just needs to get looked at in some quick tweaks, $125 that's a little high. It's a little high on the spectrum for your basic,
Right.
a basic bike without gears. We, at the shop I worked at for a long time.
They probably adjust for a bike without gears, I would imagine. Some might. Some might not.
We had a single speed tune.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was just in there.
Which you should.
So, because it's like, you don't need a lot, but true the wheels, lube the chain, wipe it down, adjust the headset, do hubs if needed, and you're done. You're in and out. Like, it's not a complicated thing. So, if you have a single speed, I would recommend negotiating and ask if there is a single speed special for all you single speeders out there.
This other shop. This is another local shop that has a reputation. They sell nice road bikes and some mountain bikes, but they definitely have a more neighborhood bike shop, I would say, reputation.
Yeah.
So they're close to the university. They serve a lot of the college students. So let's just see what services cost there. Basic tune, $100.
All right.
All right.
Come in. People are making a stand at that $100 mark for tunes.
Mark and Mike got to raise that price. They got to catch up with everybody.
Yeah.
Basic tune, complete tune, pro tune.
I think part of so if you're a bike shop and you have a bunch of employees, and you got to pay those employees and pay for all the things that come with that.
Right.
I think that you have to charge that bigger number.
Yeah.
That 100 plus. I think that's kind of also where we're going. You're also in that shop. These are all shops that have a big floor of bikes and have bikes that need to get built. And so how much of that
parts put on them when they get sold.
Yeah.
So let's.
But some of the smaller shops that do not carry bikes, or the repair focused shops that don't have a big floor, that have lower overhead, looks like they're charging a little bit less. And they may be all of our friends. So I guess that's biased.
There's a touch of. I mean, a lot of the bike shops.
Anybody can do their own YouTube show.
All the bike shops are my friends. Well, I mean.
Yeah, everyone's.
I don't know anybody who works for Mike's Bikes. I don't know anybody.
Philip Brown.
He doesn't work for them anymore. He sold to them.
Yeah, he still works there. He's still the buyer.
You still work there?
Yeah.
Get on
Last
here,
time I
get
saw
on
him,
this show, boy, and talk to us about
earlier this year. He was still, I think, doing buying for him. Yeah, and he was like, yeah. He's like riding the wave for a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Where was I? I don't know them. I don't know anybody who operates Wheat Ridge. I know some people who work there. They're not.
Yeah.
But these others, the owners are my friends. So
Next.
You got more questions? I was gonna.
Should you
go for it?
Go. Oh no, you go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask. Is the tune-up package? Is the tune-up the way to actually go about it?
I think for geared bikes, like road bikes, mountain bikes, you have a geared bike, full suspension bike. I think the tune-up is the way to go.
Yeah.
I think if you have a single speed, you should learn how to fix it yourself.
Yeah. So this is,
like,
I have them as well. Obviously, we saw them on my website there. This is the question I've always struggled with as a bike mechanic who runs the business. Is tune-ups, kind of like I said before, they're designed to get as much money with as little work as possible, right? So there's a lot of stuff thrown in there. It's like, oh, we do this, 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 and this. Kind of like the bottom bracket thing I was mentioning. There's a lot of things that like you aren't work that may or may not actually need to be done. Yet you're paying for it because it's part of the package.
Yep.
Wheel truing has always been one that has come up a lot because a lot of wheels on bikes they're fine. Like when you have all of these basic tunes or even the mid-level tunes, the wheels are rolling straight. You can even give them a quick finger test to see if there's no loose spokes. It's fine like that. But that's not truing wheels. That's not servicing a wheel. But yet that's a large part of what they advertise in a number of these basic tuners. Says, oh, true the wheels. Well, you don't. And that's why even the question of is the wheel truing done on or off the bike, actually kind of a real question that if you're a consumer, maybe you should ask. Because there's a big difference between actually doing the work on the bike and doing the work in a proper touring stand.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of my tension is I've always felt personally when I first started working in the garage here and then when I had my store and even to now is I love the idea rather of taking a bike, looking it over, saying it needs these things. And then sometimes those things fall under a service package.
You know what your problem is?
What's that?
You're too honest. You need to be a little skeezier. Like not too skeezy that you're gonna go to hell, but like
people have heard me talk way too much.
Like,
people have heard me explain bike tune-ups way too much, and this is the other part of the problem is I've wasted my time and life being like, well, you need to understand what you're paying for here, and people are like, I just
don't care.
I have to go to the grocery store before I make my kids up from school, and you're spending 30 minutes explaining the tune-up. I get it,
dude. That is. I've literally had people tell me to shut up and just give them the tune-up.
Yeah, no,
just
I get
give
it.
me the tune-up.
But that's part of the suave that we have to develop in our roles is to kind of read that in people and be like, some people are like, fine, that's great. It's an amount I'm willing to pay for stuff that I think is fine. Go for it. Fine. Some people want to know. Part of my point is, I think there should be a little bit of balance between like the stupid effort that kind of I put through and what you see from some of these other shops. Which is just like, oh yeah, we basically their website could be like, we go and that's tune up 1 and that's tune up 2 and that's kind of it, right?
And diddly doo.
I'm like every little fucking thing.
They have to put something up. It has to get put up. It can't be too complicated because
because they're paying some
scare
web guy,
people.
and they're also paying again. It's money.
They're
paying some guy web time too, right?
Yeah.
They'd much rather put up information, photos, and stuff that people can buy right there on the thing, like a bike or that's $10,000, rather than just like explaining work. Like they're not going to pay some guy to explain work. They don't want to pay people to do work.
Yeah, there is. I think. Though there is kind of this, like, people, they pay somebody to check their furnace. They pay a mechanic to check their car, and then they just want a bike mechanic to look at it, their bike. And I've been in the same spot of over-explaining tune-ups. Like, we're going to do blah, 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 and you just, like, see people's eyes glaze over, and they're like, just give me the tune-up. Like, they just want it looked at, and you say, yes, sir, thank you, sir, and you move on.
I know.
And I think that's kind of what
there's a place for
is.
it, but I think, like I said, I think a lot of shops. Again, this is the question of the show. I think a lot of shops just way too easily on the like keep it dumb, keep it simple, spend as little time making the website, making the pricing board, making the requirements for the mechanic, having the mechanic do the work, having it checked. Make that as little amount of time spent for people as possible because that's how they make money.
Well, and we have things like YouTube where you could just make a video about what a tune-up is. And that's one thing I've wanted. Yeah. I've offered to certain shops to be like, what's a tune-up? Like, walk through it. If somebody wants to know more, you can make a video.
What I've wanted to do is I wanted to do an undercover series. Just take a bike.
But take
a bike, untune it in ways that I know exactly what has been done.
You want to do the garage, like the Channel 5.
Yeah, whatever. And then take it to a bike shop and like, I need a tune-up. Have them do it, and then get it back and see what they accomplished. It would only take a few $100s to do. I mean, under $1,000, you could hit half a dozen shops easily and get.
Yeah.
Coming at you. We need
Channel 5.
Who do we need? Who's the
Breck Chapman.
Breck Chapman. Oh, brother.
But my point.
Make your.
I've been trying to make a point for like.
Make a damn point.
35 minutes.
I don't know.
Now I lost it. There's no point left.
Well, I'm just learning about all these new bike shops that are apparently in the area.
They're popping off, dude.
They're just selling stuff that is available like from companies that they don't actually have in stock, which is another thing bike shops keep doing.
Should you negotiate labor dollar prices?
No. If you wanna. Ice just exploded.
If you wanna.
Uh,
She offered deals on your labor.
um,
Do you ever offer deals on the labor?
I don't ever advertise offering deals on my labor. I don't offer like winter sales deals or
Yep.
anything like that. But for customers who I know are good and come back all the time and who always spend money and don't complain about what stuff costs, here and there I'll do a thing and be like,
I gotcha.
I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valued customer.
I will do that.
How do you entice people?
With these stellar good looks. With what else?
How do
I
you?
mean,
But if you don't have sales, how do you entice the people? Because that's one thing that I think a big
Shirtless Wednesdays.
misunderstanding. Shirtless Wednesdays. You heard it here first.
Wednesdays at the Gingy.
With charging for service.
So
a lot of people think that lowering the price is going to get more people to come in.
It depends on who your customer is, right?
And it's all an experiment. Like, there's no right or wrong answer.
I try to charge what I think is good. I need to raise some prices. I definitely you know why I need to raise my prices, because the cost of what it costs to feed my family a meal is like 30% higher than it was a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's eating at home.
Right, eating at home, and then, dude, eating out.
It's-
Used to, like, I'll let you guys know. We used to hit one of our local Mexican joints for like $40, $45 for the whole family.
Done.
Now, granted, my son is 13 now, so he's eating like a horse, but
Yeah.
even so, it's like $80 now. 80, 90. That's just for like the local like Mexican joint. That's not.
Yeah.
going
When we went
whatever.
on the
Yeah.
van trip and we were traveling around the U.S. in a van, like, we actually, like, we couldn't eat out that much.
Yeah.
Because it was so expensive.
Right.
So, I mean, we camped and ate at
So-
camp.
That's why I need to raise my prices. Less
Just
so
as food.
So like I'm obviously different here. Yes, how I entice people. Well, like, I entice people by hopefully, and this is the way it's worked, doing a really good job fixing bikes and having that not be ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
And so they tell other people, and being reasonable and flexible with how they can drop their bike off and pick it up. That's all. We're back to the ad for Gingy Cycles. We're gonna get one every so often. But that's how I get people. Like, I mean, I had 2 referrals today from customers who I haven't heard from for years, but who had been customers for over 10 years, which is awesome. Like, that's how that should work. So I don't have to run the pricing game. That's why
we got a good comment here.
that's why my business information, like location and stuff, just isn't on Google or anything like that. People wouldn't even find my website unless I gave it to them. What's this guy say? Basic tune at a commercial shop, I would expect a wash and chain lube. You noticeably it rides better, and now they have $120 because, let's be honest, $18 an hour would be brutal, cranking out all bikes all day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wash and you noticeably rides better.
Dude, just cranking out bikes, man.
Cranking out.
Yeah, no,
18
getting
bucks
like
an
10, 15 tune-ups out a day.
Yeah.
Aw.
The tune-up life is a tough life to live in, too. As a bike mechanic, it does get a little monotonous.
And so, I mean, I think it's a market, but I would not try to play the game of lowering labor dollars to entice.
Nope.
Find other ways. 24-hour turnaround.
I do what I do, and I'll try to do better. I frequently have people tell me that I should charge more.
Yeah.
And then I try to be more. But it is funny because sometimes in my situation, I frequently have people who are like, "Are you sure that's good?" I'm like, "Yes, that's reasonable. It's based on what I charge unofficially per hour. Yes, that's good." But then I'll have other people, and I'll give them the quote. And some people have the expectation that garage guy is going to be bargain guy.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh."
But this isn't a bargain garage. Actually, if it was a barn, then I would expect bargains because you get bargains at barns.
You get bargains in barns.
Yeah.
You get bargains at barns.
Dude, it's the bargain barn.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
You don't get. There's no bargain garage.
Yeah. The garage.
Yeah,
There's an espresso
Garage.
machine, for gosh sakes.
Yeah, there is an espresso machine.
Yeah.
Correct. And there's a liquor cabinet.
Yeah. It's quicker.
So yeah. You had other. You had what was next on our thing there? I can rant for a long time.
Yeah. So I mean, tune-ups, value. What are you getting? You should see what you're getting when you're getting a tune-up from a shop.
Yeah.
And and maybe go to a shop.
That's
I
hard.
think.
Yeah.
I think a good point that we talked on the phone about is there are tons of auto shops that don't sell cars.
Right.
And everyone knows when you go to a dealership, you're gonna pay more. And some people think that that's a better deal because they feel there's some trust that like the dealer's gonna do, they're gonna have certified mechanics.
Right.
They're gonna use all the parts. That's actually not true. Some dealerships do not follow all of the rules. I will just say that.
I would say that.
And I know some people that worked at shops.
Not following rules is how they make money.
Yeah. They
That's
sell
what
cars.
I've learned. Yeah.
And so finding a
They're
good
a car dealer.
I've always looked for good independent shops that aren't necessarily cheap, but do good work. I think a sign also, like working with a car shop, is like if you go to a car mechanic and they can see you right away and they don't have a list of people, then they might not be a good mechanic. They might be fine. They might be new. There might be a couple reasons, but I had an experience this year where a guy was like, "Yeah, I can see you today.
Right now, come on in.
Right now, get in." And I got there, and it did not turn out great.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to a different shop because the work was not done 3 times in a row. So,
Right.
I would say, check out a shop. Have they been in business for a while? I don't think certifications are necessary, but like you need to know mechanics.
We talked about this. There's only so many that are even possible for bike shops. Yeah.
And it's not rocket science to get. You can be a terrible mechanic and be certified. Let's just say that.
Correct.
You can be absolutely terrible and pass all of those tests and get through it.
Yep.
Years of experience is what makes a good mechanic. Years. And also dealing with different brands and models and knowing the little quirks.
Among other things, yeah.
Yeah, like, knowing that Specialized LAs in 2005 all had their headsets pressed in too tight and the head tubes cracked. That's in my head. I can't get it out. All Bontrager Select wheels crack at the nipples.
Select, race lights, race X lights.
But Selects were like every set of Selects that came in cracked.
All of them would at some point. All those paired spokes from the mid 2000s on.
The better ones were.
They would eventually.
But they lasted more than one season. But
maybe for you.
But labor prices and looking at shops, like pricing the market. Like Denver market's gonna be probably a little more expensive than if you were in Wyoming. So we're gonna look at shops. Maybe let's just hop over to Wyoming.
Well, I'm already in Omaha.
You're in Omaha.
I'm already in Omaha.
We're looking at some shops in Omaha. Let's see.
Nebraska.
I love it, dude.
Let's go. There's a Dick's Sporting Goods. We're not gonna go to Community Bike. That's gonna be
chain stores.
We're not gonna go to Trek Bicycle. Actually,
let's see.
Actually, make a small comparison there, because it's
that's gonna be a bigger shop. They're gonna definitely have.
It's a Trek. Where's your freaking website? There it is. Oh, didn't you open a new tab?
Evo service,
look,
dude.
it's the same website that Colonel Personical was using.
Huh.
Yeah, everybody uses
How do they do that?
Websites. Oh, it's because Trek says, here's you sell our bikes. Here's a website.
You get a website.
Kid Sparks Barrel Sale, pre-owned shops, pre-owned. There is. I don't see their services.
And I think a big point that I wanted to make with the show is there's a disconnect from what bike shops are charging people and what bike mechanics get paid is a big point that I wanted to drive home. So you're paying $120 for this service or $100. a mechanic's going to probably spend an hour at most. The expectation on that basic tune-up is probably to get it done within an hour or less.
Right.
And so, yeah, like, you know, that's
So
a pretty
Omaha,
big...
Nebraska, looks like basic privately owned bike shop in the middle of town. $80 for your basic tune-up.
$80 in Nebraska.
So obviously that's one shop, but
That's that shop. Like, that's not...
looks like they're right in the, I mean,
That's not
that's not a bike shop.
terribly off.
No, I mean, it's $40 cheaper than.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough.
And,
major
you know,
shops in down here.
going into business for yourself is a whole nother hurdle, but you could definitely make a better living and give a better, make a better living for yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Now you have to build up a reputation. I'm not saying that is the easy way to go. That is not going to be the best route for everyone, but it takes years to build up a reputation. And
Yeah, it takes a certain kind of work.
yeah, but it's doable, and I think at the end, people get better service.
I agree that people get better service from independent bike shops, and especially independent service providers. So let's work off of a premise here.
Yeah.
Premise is going to be this. Okay, maybe bike shops. Maybe we have a problem with how bike shops work today.
Yeah.
Wherein the problem is they're pretty good for the enthusiast rider, mid to upper end range. Maybe not so approachable and affordable for potential customers in the below enthusiast range, right?
Let's be honest. It's
Sure.
32 to 48-year-old white males.
I mean, it's not, but go ahead.
But go ahead. No,
go
it's
ahead.
going for that higher
Right.
end, that
So-
higher maker of money.
So, but we have a certain number of bike shops in any area who are trying to help everybody, and in doing so, their pricing is leaning to the higher end of the spectrum.
Yep.
I think that's a problem. I think it leaves people on the lower end of the economic scale kind of in the lurch, kind of stuck. How do we fix that?
It's a good question. Well, not only that, on the other end of it, the people who are working aren't making great livings, I don't think, on the tech side of things. I think that's a big point too. So there's a mismatch. I mean, I don't think shops are making crazy amounts. I'm sure we could get some
These
shop
are our
owners.
prices, and shops are still just barely making it.
Yeah.
So we'll add that into our whole scenario,
Yeah.
right? These shops are doing this, but also barely making it.
Yeah.
So they're barely making it, charging a fair bit, leaving the lower income customer
Kind of
out,
your
and
average,
also not paying their technicians actual livable money.
Yeah.
Fix this for me, buddy.
How do we fix it?
How do we fix it?
How do we fix it? Dude, that's a good question. I think that's a tough one. But there's a couple ways. I mean, a lot of the times, like at the shop I worked at, you're sending people to like the bike co-op if they can't like afford what we're doing.
Sure.
So Lucky Bikes Together, like, and there's also the customer who wants just like to rummage through used parts, but it's a whole nother story. So, I think there's a couple ways, and I think one thing that Denver started doing was the e-bike rebate.
Yeah.
And it's come up a couple times that why don't they just do a bicycle rebate?
Right.
Like there's companies who are just getting into the market, like Rad Power Bikes and a couple other brands that are making a shit ton of money off of government subsidies.
Yeah. Right.
Why can't people just buy a $400 bike and get a subsidy for it? You know, low income, you know, hey, you're making less than $25,000 a year, or you're a family,
Yeah.
why can't you get a bicycle subsidy? Why, like, I'm not,
Why does it have to be an e-bike?
yeah, why does it have to be an e-bike?
I don't know.
You could buy an e-bike and take the battery out.
I think there's political like clout around electric things as solutions for climate change.
Yeah.
When a bicycle doesn't need to be electric to be a part of a climate change
We've been doing it all along.
solution, right? Exactly.
And I get it, and I don't want to knock, like, I think the rebate's great. I'm all for it, because it does make cycling more accessible,
Right.
but we could also take that big hunk of battery off, and for people, I think the e-bike is great for people who have longer commutes, that's going to be harder to
Longer
do.
commutes that are particularly hillier.
Yeah, like, when you start to get 8 to 10 miles out, like, that's a tough commute to do every day.
Oh yeah.
But like, for somebody who's 2 to 5 miles from their house, that's easily done on a regular bike.
Not an e-bike, yeah.
So that's one thing. It's like
But that
city,
gets,
and
that
that's
gets
city.
some bikes into people's hands.
Yeah.
What about the labor side? After that.
Well, that's gonna. I mean, people are gonna need those bikes to get work done. And
But if everybody wants to charge them a minimum of $100, $120 to walk in the fucking door, where does that leave people?
well, I think
Are we gonna So my contention in this is kind of like, are we just gonna continue to perpetuate the idea that biking is for people who have money?
no, it's never. Well, and it wasn't like that. Like, I feel like this is something that's blossomed over the last 10 years.
Kate does want to inform us that there are also privilege and accessibility barriers to even getting the rebates.
Ah,
Which
yes.
is a good point.
I'm not sure about that. I'd like to talk more.
Oh, you could talk to Kate. We'll have
Yeah.
her on the show. Not everybody can just has the means to get the rebate. They don't have their tax returns easily accessible or always available internet access.
Yeah.
Or a place to put the bike, even if they were able to get one. There's a number of things.
Well, that's the other thing is
Yeah.
carry an e-bike up a flight of apartment stairs.
Right? Yeah, you're not doing that.
Or you
Right,
lock
you're
it.
gonna have to put it on the street, and then then it's gone. Even if you lock it
Yeah.
up, because that angle grinder and you're done.
Yeah, angle grinder, or you don't lock the battery. Battery comes. You know, there's a ton of things that happen. So like, and the Colorado, I believe, is doing a rebate or is talking about doing a rebate. So like the state, and you can use them in conjunction.
Right.
So now you have these e-bike companies doing this.
Well, and then you have Rad Power, who didn't have I'm gonna call him out on this one. Never had a presence.
Time.
It's a good one. Yeah, it's great. Who never had a retail presence in Denver, and so when the vouchers came out for the program for you to get your discount on an e-bike, it had to be purchased from a retailer in Denver.
Yep.
What did they do?
Pop-up
Somehow they
shop.
opened a pop-up shop. in
Pop-up
Denver.
shop.
So, a larger company who's not from here, hasn't had a presence here, doesn't run business here, suddenly is doing so and just raking it in because they're the ones who sell $1,000 e-bikes.
Wait a second. What's?
Curtis says he was denied the rebate, and I don't know. He should not have been. Well, you weren't denied. You probably just didn't get it in time. There's only so
Yeah.
many. They get used up.
They get
That's probably what
released.
happened.
Like you have to be
Yeah.
like, it's like buying tickets for your favorite concert.
Yeah, it's like trying to get into the T-Swift.
And I believe they put them out quarterly now. And
I don't know.
I could be totally wrong, but
Yeah.
I talked to
we're
this
not,
guy.
We're not
and-
the rebate experts
yeah,
here. I
but
don't
they were
sell
putting them
so-
out quarterly, and when they come out, you have like that morning to essentially get them, and then they run out of funding.
Right.
Is my understanding. So you have to sit there and refresh.
It's 9:05.
Buy.
Let's say we even get bikes into the hands of you know, the lower income part of the population, where do they go to get these things worked on?
Where do they go? That is a great
Right
question.
now, almost nowhere. We have Lucky Bike. There's Bikes Together.
I mean, one is teach the people to work on bikes. Have a bike program. And if there was
you're proposing a change to our
society,
public school
Yeah.
system, which is
well, let's say there was
should include things like home and bicycle repair built into it.
Oh, a knock on red power bikes from Kevin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's right. A lot of shops won't serve as a Class 2 because of insurance liability. Because technically Class 2s aren't legal on Denver bike paths.
Oh, I did not know this.
Right.
What's Class 2?
So Class 2, no, Class 2 is limited to 20 miles an hour but has a throttle.
Yeah, see, that's one thing I think, this is just my opinion, is that
Cameron's solution is ChatGPT, that is. Which he's not wrong. It is.
That's what wrote our description on that show today.
Everything we've said tonight comes from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
We're reading the teleprompter.
Where was I? I had a very specific point. The difference.
Yes.
If something's going to be considered an e-bicycle, I don't think it should have a throttle. I think once you put a throttle on it, and I know some people might need a throttle. I know there's some situations, but
again, need is a spectrum of a word.
Yeah. But I think if we're going to classify it, it's a pedal assist, and it does not have a throttle. I think once you put a throttle, it becomes a moped.
Yeah, fair.
I think that should be the line. Line in the sand.
But our laws are completely, they don't follow that right now. So anyway.
Yeah.
But that's Kevin's point. Well, Rad Power has all sorts of things going on. Should we do an entire episode on Rad Power?
Rad Power bikes. I don't think I want to be employed by them, so yes.
So yes. He's talking about insurance liability. That's actually getting scarier because some insurances won't cover you if you even keep e-bike batteries in your shop or in your store.
Yeah.
Because this shit can catch fire. All this stuff. Which, I mean, so can a Milwaukee drill battery, but they're not this big.
Yeah, that like a tenth of the size on a Milwaukee drill.
So there's all this stuff that's kind of coming down the pike for controlling batteries that are used in e-bikes. But it's the wild. I would say west, but it's east right now. It's the wild east, because stuff that you can get on Amazon or from AliExpress from the Asian marketplace for e-bike stuff is out. It's insane. There's the stuff you can get for so cheap that you can just cobble together.
So bad.
And it's terrible.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, don't buy a cheap e-bike. Buy a decent bicycle first. Buy a decent bicycle that is a decent weight.
Sure.
So you don't have to push so hard.
Boy, we've deviated all the way to e-bikes and stuff
and labor charges on e-bikes. So this was about charging for e-bikes.
Right.
And shops definitely, if you are touching electronics, like that is a liability. Mm-hmm. You are taking on responsibility that you can take care of that and fix it.
Yep.
And
won't break it.
Should shops charge more?
Shops should charge more for electric bicycles. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
You should totally charge more for electric bikes because everything that goes into working on them is more complicated.
Yes.
Takes more time. You have to. It's like working on like cars now, and it's one of the things I don't like about e-bikes nowadays is just to work on it. Mostly nicer ones. You have to take apart a ton of stuff just to change out like a cable. I have an Orbea over there today.
Yeah.
I did all the work I was supposed to do on today, and I wanted to. We were lowering the stem, so I cut the steer tube, and then the dropper post housing was like really long and unsightly, and I don't like that, and I would rather it be correct. So I was gonna trim the dropper post line. I went to pull it through, and somewhere inside the frame, the whatever is retaining the housing for the dropper post line is shredding the plastic off of the housing. And so I pulled this out, and it pulls out, and all the plastic is shredded off of it, and I have no idea why, but somewhere inside the confines of this frame, this shift housing is all it is getting shredded inside. So I have to take the whole thing apart. So yes, it's going to cost more because there's things going on inside of there that just shouldn't happen. I don't know what's going on. I got to pull apart a bunch of stuff to figure out why. So yeah, it's going to cost them that money.
Money, money, money. We got another comment coming in.
Even for the people that were only able to get an e-bike with the government rebate. I didn't catch the reference to it, but I would respect what Kate has to say on it.
Yeah.
She knows what she's talking about.
Like, why can't, like, okay, a couple years ago, you could buy a $300 fixed gear bike.
Correct.
$300 fixed gear bike.
Yep.
Why can't we get that, like, maybe like a $500 fixed gear bike subsidized? Not a fixed gear, but a single speed.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Subsidized.
Everyone wants a $1,200 e-bike and they go in the dumpster or the river when they break down. Even with the rebate, people didn't want the more quality e-bike. Again, Kevin's right. Every friend I have who operates a shop that sold e-bikes when they whole different episode or whatever, but I'll address it. When the vouchers first came out, immediately they had people walking in the store saying, "Hi, I'm here for the free e-bikes." Which that wasn't the case, and I even had friends who were like this, and you might even be listening. Who were like, "Oh, I can get the voucher for $1,200 because I cheated on my taxes," and sorry, you didn't. And so I want to get a $1,200 e-bike. Well, it's not. It doesn't exist.
I thought it was $400.
It was $1,200 if it was like a cargo bike.
Yeah, I don't.
And there were some. I don't know. We aren't the experts on what the thing is. I don't sell them. I don't know.
I mean, I know a little bit because I watched. I talked to the guy who's running the program with the city, and I chatted with him about it. But
there was an income-based difference, and then there was an amount for a regular one and an amount for a cargo.
Cargo bike family. My neighbor a neighbor of mine got the cargo bike to take the kids to school.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
But his point is sort of indicative a little bit of a lot of this.
Give me my free government bike.
Well, okay, the bikes were subsidized. People took it. They bought the cheap ones, right? They bought the junk.
Yeah.
Then what happened with the junk when it stopped working well?
Well, there was
Someone has to fix it.
Yeah.
And you know what happened when it needed to get fixed? It was expensive.
Yeah, because
it was $500. Oh, what? I only paid $1,000 for this bike. No, you didn't. It's a $2,500 bike that had a $1,200 subsidy thrown at you.
Well,
right?
People devalue it when they get it for free.
Right. But again, there was also an expensive bill, coming up after it. So.
Yeah, I mean, setting it. One episode, actually, or just informational, is setting expectations for labor for a year.
By the way, I think I'm going to drink cream soda every week.
Every week, you're getting jazzed.
No, this is better than drinking.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only here instead of.
Yeah, we're doing way better.
We're good.
We're doing good today.
I'm up on sugar instead of liquor. I don't know which is better, but sugar. I don't know.
But all those bikes have to get fixed.
They have to get
fixed. Is your point?
Yes.
And should we talk about the Home Depot idea?
Okay, so we can talk about the Home Depot idea. We're at 9:14. We might do another episode. We could just maybe make next episode. What next? But
What next?
So, my kind of 2 or 3 ideas kind of come from this. First is I think more bike mechanics need to leave retail shops.
Yes.
And work for themselves.
Yep.
Okay? You can charge a little less and have a lower overhead and make a better living and have a better life for yourself that way. And you don't need to be a business expert at it. Okay?
Nope.
More need to do that, and we need to make it easier for that to happen for guys. When I tried to open business here, it took a lot of hurdles for getting my permit from the city to do it. That sort of thing needs to be easier in whatever cities you live in, to be able to get a permit to have your business at your home. Insurance was another one. It was really hard to find somebody who would insure me in my situation. Found it, but it was a lot of work. That needs to be a little bit easier. Those things are sort of policy level things that we're not dealing with. But to make work, there's guys out there who want to just fix bikes for the people in their area, their neighborhood. And they want to make an okay amount of money at it. And they can do a tune-up for $50 and be fine.
Yeah,
if that's all it takes. But there needs to be a way for them to do that easily.
And
all right?
correctly.
We need more of that, okay? Alternatively, we need more guys who are just like me, who run a higher-end service-oriented shop from a garage or some sort of low-cost warehouse or flex space where they don't have to worry about all the retail side of things and they can make money for themselves. I think that's going to open up an opportunity for other people to have neighborhood-oriented shops that don't have to charge as much. Now, there's two ways to go about it, right? You can always raise prices the way a lot of other shops are doing, or you can lower overheads, right? Well, retail shops that have existed for a minute aren't going to lower overhead by changing their format. So we need a whole different sort of world of bike shops, in a sense, where there's repair services for, regular people, where people don't have to pay a bunch of money. If it's a garage, maybe a mobile van, not always the best, but seems to work for some. What about just like how Ryan does at Totem, sharing one space together?
Yeah.
Ryan and I have kicked around the idea of sharing the space that he is sharing with Dirt Labs for a few years. Because that collaborative effort can work really well. You can share cost, so you lower what you're doing. You're in a commercial spot, so you have access to all the accounts and everything that you need, right? But then you can run your business how you need to. So maybe you have a larger space. Imagine like a large sort of warehouse space. This is kind of where my brain has gone at times, where you have 5, 6, 8, 10 different bike mechanics who just work there independently.
Yeah.
And they kind of each have their own thing. And but they're paying super cheap rent. Well, that can work.
Well, that's because I think a big part of it is that retail space, or retail versus, you pay more for retail storefront.
Versus
it's a lot more.
Versus
warehouse
or flex.
Or flex, you pay a lot more. So to have retail bicycle space, a big part of this is the bike shop has to take money to float that retail space.
Right.
And so that retail space is sometimes 2-3 times more. How much more is a retail per square foot? I would have to look in Denver.
I mean, it can be a lot. I mean, I don't even want to get into it.
But
Curtis Cole says, wasn't that our idea years ago? Yeah,
warehouse industrial.
You've been in the presence of my brain, Curtis. You know how this goes. Okay, so that, I believe that a change needs to come where there are more independent operators who can take themselves out of bike shops, work for themselves, work in a smaller, more streamlined manner that's incredibly cheap to operate. Doesn't need to be inside a normal retail bike shop. And let the retail guys figure that out. If they lose all their good mechanics because suddenly they were able to go actually do something on their own, fine. Figure out how to make your business work without stealing money out of your mechanics' pockets. Which brings me to Home Depot.
Guys, this is the Home Depot pitch.
Well, there's Home Depot. Then there's the
Ace Hardware.
We've talked about the bike mechanic traveling pool.
Yeah.
You work in the north, you work in the south. That's another great idea.
Summer year-round, folks.
Yeah. So when I was younger, the bike repair was in the back of the Coast to Coast hardware store in Grand Junction.
Coast to Coast Hardware.
Coast to Coast Hardware, and in the back of the hardware store was the bike
Was
repair
it
shop.
because they were in the middle between the two coasts at the furthest
Probably,
point?
maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Another episode will be the history, rise, and downfall of Coast to Coast Hardware stores.
In
No,
Grand Junction, Colorado.
no, they were all over the place. There was a chain.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
I never saw them from the East Coast.
Mr. East Coast. Mr. One
They're
Coast.
coast to coast. They weren't on my
Mr. One
coast.
Coast over here.
They weren't on my coast.
Anyway, what if, I'm entertaining the idea of, what if a large chain similar to a Home Depot or to a Lowe's were to open a bicycle repair facility in their shop, in their place? I think it could work. It would just take a very small footprint. The amount of product that they can store for retail it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. The amount of product that you can place per square foot is good. They pay people who just get their normal rate for whatever they're at when they work there anyway, and they could get basic bicycle repair knowledge, and then they could have pretty affordable prices, and then people could be like, wherever they live at the local Home Depot, they could be like, oh yeah, I could go get my flat tires fixed for this baby stroller.
Yeah.
Awesome, and it's going to cost $25 at Home Depot instead of $80 at whatever place. Who's going to pull a guy away from building a fucking time trial bike to change the tubes in your bike, in your stroller?
Yeah.
All right.
I think what you're saying is put things where they make sense.
I am saying that. I'm saying exactly that.
like, I think we've all seen we've all worked at higher end shops. You and
Okay,
maybe
so bike
some
mechanics
people.
would get paid less than they make at home. Would get paid less than they make now at Home Depot. But my point is, Home Depot wouldn't be a
But you
place.
could get health insurance.
It wouldn't be a place. It wouldn't be a place for bike mechanics.
No.
It would
and
be a
that's-
place for people who could work on bikes. And I think that's sort of the differentiation. Because you can train a number of people to change flats, adjust derailleurs, do basic work on bicycles, and do all that sort of thing. Sell tubes and tires and all that stuff. That's all pretty simple stuff that can be trained to quite a few people. And Home Depot, part of what they do is in-house training for any one of their departments.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to be in the bike department at Home Depot, you enter their in-house trainings for that department, and you learn it, and you get the wage that's commensurate to it, along with everything else. But maybe you get to have actually kind of a cool job within Home Depot. Are you going to make the same as you would at, Wheat Ridge, where you're bleeding brakes and doing suspension work and building? Well, no, that's a different skill set. That's a different person, and that
It's a different store.
Different store. It's a different mechanic.
Yeah.
And that mechanic needs to be working for themselves.
Yes. Yeah, the Home Depot idea would be
So yeah, you could
for
get healthcare.
your entry level.
Yeah, your entry level.
Like, hey, I just want to
It's
go
your
work on
entry.
some bikes.
It's entry level.
I'm doing flat changes
employee
and fixing chains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not working on,
You get paid lunches.
you get paid. Curtis has always loved paid lunches.
I gave him paid lunches. I didn't pay him very well
Yeah.
overall, but he had paid lunches if we got to eat.
Yeah. I mean, but is it any better? My point, yeah. I mean, is it any better to get paid nothing and have no type of benefits?
No other benefits. No.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I went to apply for a job at a local bike company that will not be named, and for like building brand new bikes, custom bikes. These were $2,500 plus bikes. The compensation was $16 an hour, no benefits,
Right.
and you got to borrow a bike for the season. So how?
Right.
At least like I need health insurance, like some type of like
Something.
basic benefit, and yeah, like if I'm gonna get paid like crap, I at least want some benefits, maybe at least a basic 401k, something putting away to the future.
Right. I would never propose that like a box store is a solution for
Yeah.
jobs, but it's a place where jobs are. These are necessary jobs. Like these box stores are necessary, and I think.
And the footprint for a repair place would be small.
Right.
It would not be.
Small.
It would be
all that
like
big.
30 by 25.
Right. Yeah.
And the point is that it's not going to be that this is for the basic customer,
Right.
like that's coming in, the person who's like has a coaster brake huffy.
The coaster brake huffy, like we said,
Yeah.
the grandma who has custody of her 2 to 3 grandchildren,
Yeah.
and they need the bikes fixed. Like that's a difficult customer to bring into the bike shop.
You know,
That's a difficult customer to introduce to the co-op. But if that person knows that the Home Depot down the street will just be able to take care of it, or wherever, it's an example. Home Depot is an example, but like a business that they're familiar with, where pricing in-house is standardized, and where training is standardized, and where employment is normalized, from one department to the other.
it takes care of a certain
I think it fills a gap,
fills a gap.
and then lets those shops who want to concentrate on that higher end customer do that without having to pull away from it. Cruise School, that was in 2005. I don't know what he's talking about. Oh,
Like the other thing is, we have community centers, we have bike co-ops.
right.
Could there be a melding? Instead of giving a bunch of e-bike rebates, how do we get as many bikes fixed and as many people trained to fix their own bikes and sell less complicated bikes so they're easy to fix? If we could do those things, there you go. 3-speed.
You address the problem, and it's more of its source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we had community centers that had a repair center and training that went along with that,
Right.
I'm ready for it. I'll do it. If we can get funding, I'll do it. I'm not scared.
You do that, and I will run Home Depots.
Home Depots.
Because I will make
You're like-
fucking bank on that one.
You're like, I run all of the Home Depot bike
I run the
shops.
Home Depot bike shop program. I make
billion
$10 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, it's like the e-bike thing, like I don't want to say, it's not a terrible idea. I feel like that's the worst thing to say. But I think there's some other solutions, and like some type of community, like there's already bike co-ops, but my problem with bike co-ops is a lot of times they're not run, there are people that care. And I don't want to crap on
care.
I don't want to crap on people
Doesn't
that
mean
care.
they run well.
Doesn't mean they run well.
Right.
And there's consistency because I've worked in enough co-ops and helped at enough co-ops and volunteered.
Well, and even those can be somewhat unapproachable to somebody who doesn't know how they work.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I just need this fixed, and it's like, oh well, you can go rummage through the shit bin, and you're like, well, I don't want to rummage through the shit bin. I want this fixed. Bike's broken.
Yeah.
So, I think my actual overall point is, I want the bicycle retail. I'm not even gonna say bicycle industry because I don't want to throw because sellers they only care about selling to dealers. That's all they care about. Fuck all that. All right.
Like Trek.
Yeah. They don't care about what we're talking about.
No. Not at all.
Right. So
they're like,
who cares? Whatever. So I want bike shops and bike mechanics and this whole kind of world to really get creative with how they think they are supposed to function and quit relying on the same old thing, which is I have a storefront and I sell bikes in the front and I have mechanics in the back and we try to take care of everybody as best we can because it only works so well.
Yeah, and it's being...
And if we
And right now...
I don't know a lot of business things, but one thing I have learned and have read on the internet webs before is diversification.
You don't read.
I have read things. All right, is that diversification is this is actually good for your body as well. Diversification is good for health.
Yeah.
right? You need different sources of like
Different types of fiber.
different types of food, different types of fiber, different types of this, right?
Vitamins.
Different types of bike mechanics, different types of bike sales. We now have the internet, which is wonderful. You can buy so many things on the internet. Kevin Dixon says it's important to have a massive ship bin. Yes, I have many small ship bins and one big one that I don't show people.
They all have covers. They're very neatly put away.
Right. Look.
Yeah.
Right here.
Ah!
Boop. That's just 3 of them. Anyway.
Yeah.
Creativity.
Diversity.
And just a shift in how we do all that.
There's a lot
I'm not the like harbinger guy. I'm not saying, oh, the change is coming and you better be ready for it and you better adapt.
Vote for Jason.
I want it to happen because I think it's
President.
good for everybody.
You're running for president.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
now.
I'm running for president. We're starting with the head of the Home Depot bike shop.
Home
service
Depot bike
department.
shop, where doers get things done. Wait a second, what's the Home? Is that the Home Depot slogan? Where doers get things done? Home Depot. Or they just have that sound.
I'm gonna Google.
Oh God,
it.
dude. So
you say words while I Google
bike shop.
How doers get more done.
Yeah, how doers get more done, dude. Dude,
Bruh.
he's gonna have an apron. It's gonna be orange, and he's just gonna be helping the people.
Not me.
But I mean, bike co-ops, bless their heart. But Jesus, I've been across and just heard,
Right.
somebody who's just coming in to volunteer, just giving terrible advice or the wrong advice or misinformation, and they're trying really hard.
Yes.
But it's got to be better. There's
But
got to be
they're
some
trying-
better training.
They're not trying. They're trying hard at a very undefined goal and mission. Generally,
Yeah.
so
Like,
which is fine.
like, telling people just wrong parts, and so that's one problem. And
Curtis is like, "There's a Home Depot bucket on there." It's like, I don't see one.
where doers get things done, dude.
Home Depot.
Call me.
I'll solve you.
Call me.
I'll solve you, dog.
Dude, the low-cost provider of bicycle maintenance. There's different levels of things that need to get served, people that need to get served, and there's your basic bike, and there's your high end, and there's stuff in the middle. And what should you pay?
I don't think we're doing a great job. What should you pay? Not $75. This company needs to fix this because they are charging the lowest, but also being the most
Thorough.
The most thorough, and I feel like they paid
All
their
right.
web guy more than they should have for these. Just what he wrote here.
Jason, you're only allowed 6 plugs an episode, and you're at 12. You can't plug.
I have not even said Journey Cycles once. I haven't said Journey Cycles once.
Oh, jeez.
So, what is?
Okay, I think we got to wrap it up because I got to go home, go to bed. I got to shoot in the morning. I had a video shoot in the morning. I got to
Okay,
to
you got work to do. So
I got
do
work.
I have to take my daughter to get her wisdom teeth removed in the morning.
Oh, that's gonna be fun afterwards. Make sure you film it.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm prepared. I have new VHS tapes still in the packaging to pop into the machine.
Tomorrow I'll be working on a PBS piece.
Poops?
Yeah, PBS piece.
Doing what? That sounds fun.
I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it in public, but we'll talk about it soon. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting piece. We're doing a shoot tomorrow. I'm doing the lighting. It's gonna be fun. So that's what I got going on this week. I think we're gonna be skipping next week. So
Correct.
next week we're gonna be skipping.
I might do an only show, a solo
What?
show.
An only
You
Jason's?
think I could pull it off? An
Only Jason's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
dude.
might.
Yeah, give it a shot.
I might just get pre-whiskied and
Just do it with your phone.
and just do it with my phone and just probably talk about internally routed cables for an hour.
See, really grinds my gears. Oh, so I will not be joining next week. I'll be out, but the week
If
after.
if I can learn how the internet works, I might. We'll see.
Yeah, you can do it. You
I
can
can,
get you a
I can
GoPro,
therapize
dude.
myself on air.
Yeah,
That's what Only Jason's is all about.
it's the only Jason's. All right, well,
Thank you, everybody. Good conversation tonight. We appreciate it.
we love it. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
In the therapy zone.